Hey everyone, Side with Pinnacle Trading here. This week was pretty big for the market, but the upcoming week is going to be huge depending on what happens with the inflation report by Jerome Powell. So let's jump into it, but first, cue the intro. Please be advised of the disclaimers. If you haven't watched my video already, new Fed meeting announced, my most recent video on my channel, this goes on about what happened the previous week and why the markets fell and the way it acted. So that's going to give you some more insight. So if you haven't watched that already, or you can watch it after this video. But let's jump into the market and see what happened this week. We saw a steady decline, as you can see right above me on the charts. Markets just came down, just got beaten down, and they tried to come up today, which is Friday, but they just got sold off at the close because people were most likely just taking profits before the weekend, and they most likely don't want to hold into the inflation report, the FOMC meeting by Jerome Powell next week. So looking at the overall market itself, if you look at the 1-year chart, why has this gotten beaten down? I made this video critically, and exactly it's playing out that way. Why markets fell today and why I sold my stocks, and this is a huge indicator that I talked about. What was it? It was the 200 SMA. Takes 200 days into account and gives you a kind of a resistance or support if markets are over or below it. So right now it's a resistance because markets are getting hit off of it. They can't break through. It's like a brick wall. They can't get through, and they're getting beaten back down, smacked back down by it, and markets just can't get over. And I talked about that when I made this video. It was the day before this candle, and it went over. People thought, oh wow, it's bunch of BS, but what happened? Markets just came back down again. So it's really critical to wait when I make these videos and when I alert these, because they can take a couple days, maybe a week or so to play out, but you have to look at the overall picture. So looking at that, and you look at the Fibonacci chart, you can also see that 400 or 398 is a critical level, and being whole number support is very psychologically critical in the market itself. You want to look at the 400 to break and hold like it did over here, but it couldn't break through the next $10 resistance at the 410 and the next Fibonacci. So that's the critical levels we want to look for next week. It's going to be that 400, 415. If it can break through, we're going to see a massive rally into next year. If we break down below the 400, which we already did, and break to 390, we're most likely going to see this go back to 380. Again, all depends on how markets play out next week, how the report goes. So let's break down the report that happened this week. We had initial job claims on this one. We had initial job claims, which was 230,000 versus 220. So that was more job claims, more people claiming that they're without a job than expected. That's not good. And I'll show you why that is good for the market for the report next week. But the PPI news, this was huge impact. That's why it's in red right over here. And if you can see that, this was 0.3%, expected was 0.2%, so it's 0.1% more. And that was very critical for the market. That's why today in the pre-market, we saw markets sell off. We saw this huge drop from 398 all the way to 392. That's a pretty big drop in the intraday or the pre-market itself. Markets tried to come back, but just couldn't do it. Sold off before the weekend and said goodbye. So next week, we want to wait for this report that's coming up, and that's going to be the FOMC meeting. That's the key critical one for the market. So the prices that I just told you right now on this one, it's going to be at 400, 415 for the upside. For the downside, we have support at 390, and then we have support at 380. If it does not go well, look for markets to flush back down, because that means no Santa rally, no strong close before end of the year, and no bull market again for a long time. So just keep those levels in mind. And if you like this video, make sure to hit that subscribe and like button. It would help me out a lot. And also comment below what you think is going to happen in the markets next week. I'd love to see your insight as well. Make sure to hit that subscribe and like button, and I'll see you in my next video.